need to talk about TikTok. TikTok, if you will, it is the 24/7 news channel of so many of our young people, and it's like Al Jazeera on steroids.
In November of 2023, a recording was leaked of Jonathan Greenblatt, the head of the ADL, referring to TikTok as a problem that needed to be taken care of.
We have a major generational problem. The issue in the United States in support for Israel is not left and right. It is young and old. And so we really have a TikTok problem, a Gen Z problem, that our community needs to put the same brains that gave us Tagli, the same brains that gave us all these other amazing innovations, need to put our energy toward this, like fast.
Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. 1 John chapter 2, verse 15. Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash, and double honor to our venerable apostles and elders of Great Millstone who are well. Peace and blessings to our Lord's elect, the house of David. All right, so Brother Haran coming back at you with another lesson. And Lord willing to be edifying and uplifting unto the elect. And just bear with me. I do have severe allergies. So I'm going to run through this video as quick as I can. All right, and just wanted to go into this article that I came across today, actually, and it's titled, Republican Congressman Warns Real ID is being used as a tool to, quote, control Americans. Okay, and we've been going into it. All right, myself, many different brothers, bishops, elders. All right, the true men of the Lord, starting from my elders and apostles of Great Millstone on down, been warning. All right, giving the warning that we're fast approaching. You've seen all this technological advancements gearing towards this one biblical prophecy, which is the mandatory implementation of the MOTB. This is the pivotal, the most important thing right now as it stands that anyone on this earth is going to go through, which is going to be the hour of temptation. Okay, so it's important to know exactly what that temptation is going to be. And right now, all the steps that Esau is making or taking is leading to that. To the point, it's so blatant to the point that even you got a congressman who can see it and is saying, hey, wait a minute. This is pretty much you're going down a slippery slope, right? But it's not a slippery slope. It's just a slope. You see what I'm saying? It's just a slope. It's a very steep slope. All right. And it ain't, oh, I slipped, so I'm falling. No, it's just you're going down. Right. So it says here, it says a Republican congressman has raised alarms about the impending enforcement of the Real ID Act set to take effect on May 7th, 2025, claiming it could cause or it could be used to exert control over Americans rather than enhance security. Right. Okay, and that's the most important step, right, that they have to take. Okay, in order to complete their so-called world new world order agenda. All right, the majority of the people are going to have to be microchipped. Okay, that's the end goal. All right, that's the ultimate end goal. And they've been working on it for years, but they're leading step by step to it. Right now, what you're seeing is a consolidation of the agencies and departments that the Americans are used to working with, and even corporations, right? And they're merging with your government, right? So now you have these things that previously would be looked at as an option, because if you, let's just say you like to travel with you like to travel with the Greyhound instead of the Amtrak, right? You rather the bus over the train. Cool, right? Just an example. Those are two different ways, forms of transportation, right? And you can say, well, I'm going with a train today, no problem. Or I'm going with a bus today, no problem, right? Either or, you still got to pay, right? You still got to pay. So they're both, Even though they're two different sectors, they're still making money off of you, right? So now what's happening is that being an option, soon that option is being taken away from you, where you're no longer going to have an option to either go with a train or a bus, because now the government is getting involved in it. So now they're going to give parameters on who can take the train and who can take the bus. That's the steps that we're entering into now, based on your thought process, based on your beliefs, based on your political affiliation, based on your ability to speak against, whatever narrative that they might be pushing at that said time, right? I say all this to say that these things that what I'm about to read right now is another step of taking away people's so-called freedoms, privileges, liberties, rights, whatever you want to call it. All right, the things that people used to think was free and you can just make a decision whenever you want, those things are being taken away from you now. You own nothing and you be happy. They said that's Agenda 2030. All right, we're 5 years away from so-called 2030. All right, if the Lord was to keep us here for that long, we're 5 years away from 2030. And guess what? We're 5 years removed from the CV when it first hit. And we all remember it like it was yesterday. All right. So that's, in other words, time is flying. All right. And we've been talking about this real ID for a minute. Now, once it hits the system, things, the prophecy for the MOTB is going to speed up after that. It's going to pick up quick. All right. Because this is a major step. All right. Getting everyone into this real ID, because the ID is what they're going to get you. Okay. It says the real ID mandated, right? Check this out. Mandated by a 2005 law passed in response to the 9/11 attacks. See, that's what brother's been saying. We just need that one major shock to the system. That's gonna unravel everything else. We've been saying that. We've been saying it. There's this one major event that's gonna change everything suddenly. All right, within days, within weeks, you're gonna see a whole different world. Why? Because they're planning for it. They just need the perfect excuse to bring it about. That's it. But every new thing that you're gonna start seeing very soon is already there. We're seeing them building to it right now. So when the time comes, boom, if the lights go out, they have a perfect solution for it. A solution that people previously, without that emergency, would have fought against. You see, that's the tried and true tactic of problem, reaction, solution. Okay, so-called 9/11 or 911 was a problem that was created, which gave a reaction that came out with a solution, and the solution is what we're seeing now. The Patriot Act being one of them. Okay, the NDAA Act being another. All right. Now, Americans being known or classified as domestic teas, that's also part of it, because that all goes back to the so-called Patriot Act. Okay, for so-called America to look at Americans as domestic threats, that's all going back to the whole concept of war and terror, or whatever you want to call it. And once they put that label of terrorist or that T word on you, it's game over. It's almost like being called a so-called anti-Sem, in a political world. It's like career suicide. Anyway, so continue. It says this requires stricter standards for state-issued driver's licenses and identification cards to board domestic flights or access certain federal facilities. So they're already starting again, it's all about priming, conditioning, okay, getting your minds ready for the new system that's yet to hit. Okay? It says in a series of posts on X, which is formerly known as Twitter, Representative Thomas Massey argued that the real ID is ineffective at preventing teaism, which is true, right? Because teaism is only done through your secret agencies. Real life people don't go around committing these so-called attacks, because the security that they have, if they don't want any of this stuff to happen, it doesn't happen. Okay, for somebody to go through, like, do you know how many checkpoints you got to go through just to go board a plane as a regular citizen? Think about that. Like the TSA, the kind of molestation that they do to people. Think about all the steps that people have to go through. You got to validate this, you got to have this ID here. Make sure this is stamped and approved, and put your biometrics over here. All these steps you got to take. Fingerprints and this and that. And you mean to tell me that somebody's just going to skip all these steps, some way, somehow, sneak through with some type of explosive, and then he's going to blow some shit up? Come on, bro. You see? But yet, these kind of things still happen. After all these checkpoints you got to go through, they still manage to get through all these checkpoints and go commit some type of act, which immediately after that act is committed, they know exactly who did it, what his motives, he or she, their motives was, right? They had what they call it? What's that thing that they always say that they had? Oh, that's right. I forget TOT right now, tip of the tongue. Not a memorandum. It's a different word. Fuck. It'll come back. Right? It's right there. Never mind. Right? But they always have something written down. You know, they wrote this and they were part of this extreme group, and that's what, you know, mental health issues, and it caused them to go about and do this. They have mental health issues, but they were so clever and so smart enough to come up with a plan that eluded all this top-notch security that you have. Surveillance cameras, checkpoints, metal detectors, all these different things. And yet, this mentally challenged person that you want people to believe found a way to finally, oh goodness, it's crazy. But yet people believe it, right? These so-called mass shootings, they always, it's the same narrative. These people they don't learn. These criminals don't learn. They just like going to schools and public spaces and using the same type of guns. And there's always, you know. Anyway, so continuing back in what Mr. Thomas Massey is saying, right? He's saying that these the real ID is not going to be preventing no T-isms, noting that most 911 hijackers held foreign passports from countries like Saudi Arabia, the EUA, which is United Emirates. No, United something Emirates. Shit, how am I forgetting these words today? What's going on? United Arab Emirates. Yep, that's the word. All right, so Egypt and Lebanon, right? It says he described the Real ID as a national standard and database, primarily designed to monitor and control U.S. citizens rather than thwart external threats. So think of the Real ID working in tandem so soon with your social credit score. Okay, because your Real ID is tied to you as an individual and your digital so-called footprint, right? Because everything is being transitioned over. So your Real ID is your digital ID, so to speak, in a way. At least to start off with traveling and government facilities, you know what I'm saying? You're going to have that Real ID that's going to pretty much be your new form of social security / birth certificate, that kind of thing, right? That's how important it's going to be. So continuing, it says, in a follow-up post, Massey clarified that the Real ID serves as proof that an individual's identity matches an entry in a digital database, with its full impact contingent on widespread compliance. Okay, that's crazy. That, again, like I said, that's all going into the social credit system. All right, your carbon footprint and all that. Okay, this is how they're gonna get you to comply with the system, because your Real ID is tied to your everything, your actions, everything you do, everything you say, your social media, all that. It's all gonna be tied in. You know, you've seen YouTube. You know, they started doing this thing where if you share, I forget exactly how many videos a day, they're gonna start hitting you with the, hey, listen, you gotta in order to share more videos, you gotta put up your Real ID, your real, you know, your information, so you know we know who you are, type shit. It's like, what? Identity proof and all this extra stuff. So continue, it says, and ultimately, like we always say, the ultimate form of proving who you are or your identity is that MOTB. Okay, because it's inside of your skin. It's under your skin. It's not, somebody's not going to take your hand and no, it's literally under your skin. You know, they could have made it where you could buy a glove and then it has a C hip in it and then you could use it. But nah, Esau said, no. Somebody could go steal your glove and use it and make it seem like it was you, right? So now we want you to have your own digital print, your digital mark, you know? So that's coming. All right. So continuing, it says, the Real ID Act, originally slated for implementation in 2008, has faced multiple delays due to state resistance and logistical challenges, including during the CV-19 pandemic. So they need to push people. Remember, it says the states and their resistance, right? Their resistance, meaning non-compliance. How are you going to get people to comply? Natural disasters is a nice way to get people to comply, right? Ultimately, emergencies, that's the best way. When you create emergencies, it allows you enough time to come up with new sweeping regulations that the people will accept under emergency use. Okay? Oh, this is just an emergency. We have to do this so that we can solve this problem that this emergency has caused. Once the problem is solved, we're good. And guess what? The problem never gets solved. It just evolves into something worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse till there's nothing else, where you're just stuck in this never-ending cycle of emergencies. And because of those emergencies, your freedoms just keep getting taken away from you step by step, little by little, till you have nothing and you're happy. All right. So continuing, it says, as the deadline approaches, the Transportation Security Administration, TSA, very evil, reports that 81% of travelers at airport checkpoints already carry Real ID compliant identification, though compliance varies by state. Those without a Real ID or alternative documents, such as a U.S. passport, may face delays at security checkpoints after May 7th, 2025. So they're purposely going to delay you, right? Because now you're going to be treated as a so-called second-class citizen. You're not going to be treated like a top-notch elite citizen. Why? Because you're not in compliance. Remember, it's a system of what do you call it? Segregation, digital segregation. Those who comply are going to be the ones who are going to be accepted into the system. Those who don't comply, they're going to be segregated against. Okay, you're going to be second-class citizen. Everything you do, at least in the beginning stages, it's all part of the coercion tactics, the pressure from above, pressure from below. All right, you're hearing threats, you're hearing all these different things, and then you're seeing it affect your life in real time. A lot of people are going to end up taking the C-hip because of the social pressure. Okay, the social pressure alone is going to make people crack, right? Because they live for this world and not for the Lord. That's why we read that precept first. All right. Those who love the world, they're going to be faced with the harshest reality. That, yeah, you love the world, but guess what? The world never loved you. It made you think that it loved you so it can use you. And now that it owns you, you're starting to see the reality of it. Right, so continuing, it says, Massey has called on the president to halt enforcement of the Real ID, warning that its centralized database could pose risks to personal freedom. Ooh, see? That's what they're coming for. People's freedoms, people's rights. Yeah, when Trump is saying that he's going to be sending the homegrowns out to El Salvador, yeah. Again, we told you, Rex 84 is already in effect. Yeah, you just haven't seen the helicopters flying over your houses yet. So you see, just wait. Martial law is coming. It's coming. It's fast approaching. It says, meanwhile, long lines at DMV offices nationwide reflect the rush to obtain compliant IDs, with some states reporting appointment shortages and others, like Miami-Dade County, uncovering scalping schemes for booking slots. Now, this type of feeling of a rush typically happens when something is going on. Right now, it seems like nothing is really going on for people to be rushing just to go get a Real ID. So it makes you wonder what's actually going on, right? You got gold shooting up OD almost daily now. So that's definitely a telltale sign, all right, of a receding economy. All right, I believe we've man, recession, depression. This is a collapse. It's over with. People just haven't realized it yet, but it's over with. All right. So it says, continuing. It says, the Department of Homeland Security emphasizes that the Real ID strengthens security by making identification documents harder to forge. See, you hear the verbiage now. It's security, security, security. This is exactly what they're going to pitch for the MOTB. Because this Real ID, guess what, is going to have more security breaches, and that's going to be their justification to come up with something that's more secure, the MOTB. That you can't forge it, you can't, none of that, right? It says, however, critics like Massey argue its benefits are overstated, pointing to the lack of evidence that it would have prevented past attacks. As the debate continues, travelers are urged to verify their ID status with compliant cards, typically marked by a star. Soon it's going to be marked by a chip. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Once again, see if I can get this real quick piece up here. Once again, man, Esau is going to come in with all the tactics. Okay, with all the tactics. All right, we're talking about what they did back even during the time of Antiochus with the Greeks. All right, so it's always going to be like that. All right, they in pursuit of their so-called New World Order agenda, they have to make war against the sons of Jacob, because we're the only ones that stand in their way of doing that. We're the only ones that have beef with Esau when it comes to true world domination. All right, because the promise went from Isaac, it went to his two sons, Jacob first. Jacob being the one that got the real blessing, and Esau, his older brother, who was supposed to get the blessing, but it wasn't so. So Isaac blessed him with the fatness of the earth, right, and the sword, right, that he should live by that sword. Let's get that. Okay. All right, the book of Genesis, chapter 27, and let's see, start off at let's start off at start off at verse 22. Let's start off at verse 20. And Isaac said unto his son, how is it that thou hast found it so quickly? So let's go up a little bit more. Verse 15, Genesis 27, verse 15, just a quick one, right? It says, and Rebekah took goodly raiment of her eldest son Esau, which were with her in the house, and put them upon Jacob her younger son. And she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands, and upon the smooth of his neck. And she gave the savory meat and the bread which she had prepared into the hand of her son Jacob. And he came unto his father and said, my father. And he said, here am I. Who art thou, my son? And Jacob said unto his father, I am Esau thy firstborn. I have done according as thou badest me. Arise, I pray thee, sit and eat of my venison, that thy soul may bless me. Right? And Isaac said unto his son, how is it that thou hast found it so quickly, my son? And he said, because the Lord Yahweh thy power brought it to me. And Isaac said unto Jacob, come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not. And Jacob went near unto Isaac his father, and he felt him, and said, the voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned, because Esau was hairy. That's why his mother put the skin of the goats upon the neck and his arms, the arms of Jacob, because he was smooth. Right? It says, and he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy, and his brother, as his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him, and he said, Art thou my very son Esau? And he said, I am. And he said, Bring it near to me, and I will eat of my son's venison, that my soul may bless thee. And he brought it near to him, and he did eat, and he brought him wine, and he drank. And his father Isaac said unto him, Come near now, and kiss me, my son. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, See, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field which the Lord Yahweh hath blessed. Therefore the Most High give thee of the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. Right? Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee. Right? So that's the blessing that Jacob we got. That was supposed to go to Esau. But as we read, he got supplanted by Jacob through the Spirit. All right, because he ain't right, so he wasn't going to get that fat blessing. All right, until today. This is the whole beef between so-called white people versus black people, is because of this blessing right here. Okay, so he's fighting back he's trying to do anything and everything in his power to take back what he believes was stolen from him. Okay, that's why they do the shit that they do, and that's why they have a so-called agenda for a new world order. But that's all because they want that blessing. All right, but they're not gonna get it. Why do you think, out of all the lands of the world, why did they go choose the land of Israel? Because that's where we dwell. So when the Lord kicked us up out of there, it was only right for them. All the other nations ain't do it like they did. Took over, called themselves upon as Jacob instead of Esau, right? Destroyed all the information outside of the scriptures, all the information that will validate who they are, or at least prove who they are to the world. They hid all that information, okay, or at least tried to. You see, but now, as is written in Second Ezra, all right, that the truth is being fulfilled, right? So everything is coming out on you devils, okay? So your plans to push for this world domination, you know what I'm saying? Like it says the nations will bless you and worship you, right? You trying to force it. You want the nations to be forced to worship you. You see, when we get into rulership, right? They're gonna be willing to do that after the first 1,000 years, as is written, Proverbs 29, right? When the wicked beareth rule, the people what? Mourn. But when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. Okay? So part of the rejoicing is worshiping us, in happiness. The hammer of the earth has been destroyed, has been ceased. He's out of there. Right? He affected all these nations. He went to war against all these nations. He abused all these nations. Went into their lands, made war against them, destroyed their people, stole their resources, enslaved them through adhesion contracts. Right, Esau, all these things is coming out on you, man. All right, again, we're in the sentencing stage. So the further you push for this MOTB prophecy, the more we're going to keep exposing you. As is written, the son of perdition, all right, and the man of sin is being revealed. Okay? The man of sin is being revealed, man. All right, but let's get this last precept and then we're going to close it out. All right, and this guy, Bitch Nate, all right, keep on changing his different breakdowns to what the MOTB is and the image of the beast and all these different things. Yo, man, the Lord about to bring that judgment on him. All right, the Lord is definitely about to bring that judgment on him. Brothers have had dreams about him getting beat up like a piñata and shit. So by his own congregation. So yeah, just watch and see, man. Watch and see. Let me see. This is the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 6 and verse 27. It says, For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth which hath been so long without fruit. Why? Because Esau did everything in his power to hide it. He buried it so far down in the ground. But little did he know that the Heavenly Father above is the one who's in control of the rain. And you planted the seed so deep down in the ground, but guess what? That's why you're surprised that it was able to germinate and come out from the ground. Because in your mind, you had buried it as if it was dead. But the Heavenly Father watered it because it was a seed of life. Okay? And now it grew. It's taken over the whole entire earth. It says, the truth, all right, and the truth which hath been so long without fruit shall be declared. Okay? And when you go to that word declared or declare, all right, let's see, right? It says what? Explain, interpret, make clear. Okay? Make clear. And that's the job of the prophets of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, starting from my elders of Great Millstone on down. Okay? So anyway, I'm going to leave it off there. Lord willing, you are edified and informed. In closing, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Bracha Kodash, the water Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And until next time, Shalom.